live stream in ages, and I completely forgot that every single time I try to do one of these, it doesn't work. It was scheduled, and for some reason I can't get onto the schedule. My laptop won't let me do it, which is very, very strange. So I'm really sorry. I'm going to send a message to the other live chat to apologize. I feel like this is taking me back to lockdown, where every single time I would try and do it, it wouldn't work. I'm just going to quickly say on the chat though, sorry, my Wi-Fi is... I'm so sorry. It wouldn't work. I'm on a separate, sorry about this. I'm so sorry. I am very, very bad with technology, which is quite an inconvenient trait to have, honestly. And that is very, very bright. I'm just going to quickly maybe do that. Happy World Book Night though. So exciting to have National Reading Hour, and I'm sorry we are a little bit late to it. Hopefully you started without me. I was there like over my laptop trying to make it work. So I'm going to jump straight into the reading, and then maybe afterwards do a little bit of an impromptu Q&A possibly. But I'm really interested to know what everyone's reading. Like, please do let me know, like say in the chat what you're reading, because like, especially for something good, if it's something which you think like that you would recommend and that you think other people should read. I'm going to talk you through though what I've got. Dombey and Son, oh my gosh, by Charles Dickens. Rebecca, there are so many good books here that people are reading. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Oh, you're making me jealous. Can You See Me? Yes, oh my gosh, I love that book series. Norwegian Wood, Enchanted April, there's Plato Symposium, so many good books. Jane Eyre, oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about books afterwards though, because I feel like we are eating into National Reading Hour, and I'm so sorry, that's completely my fault. I'm going to be reading from The Notebook by Roland Allen, but I've also downloaded a short story by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu called The Child That Went with the Fairies, which a friend recommended, and I also want to read John Keats's Ode to a Grecian Urn. Possibly, if halfway through I have a urge for fiction, I will read some more of Pride and Prejudice, but that's what I will be reading. I'm so sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat still as well. Enjoy reading, though.
Okay, I'm going to end the reading part of the live stream. And as promised, I will do a mini Q&A for the end of this live stream. I really hope you managed to read something good in the meantime. It's more because Lola started barking downstairs, like she's with my mum and my auntie who's around as well. But I'm worried about the background noise, essentially. The Odyssey, Rebecca's reading the Odyssey. I was reading, I'm just going to tell you. So I read a chapter and a half of The Notebook by Roland Allen, and I was taking quite a lot of notes. I did look up at one point from reading and looked at the chat, and like somebody had asked about marginalia. I didn't actually see the actual question, but I just saw like marginalia was written, because I was like jotting down and writing in the margins. So like often I'm just underlining, and that's to kind of, if I go back over the book, it's almost like, I feel like when you underline, you turn the book into something which kind of can be used by you individually, because the things that you annotate are kind of picking out, these are the things that really matter to me, these are the things that are relevant, these are the things I find interesting. And then if you go back and do a reread, which often I will do, then you can look out for the underline parts. And so sometimes I will do underline rereads where I will just go through and reread everything I underlined. So for example, but then other times I will write a little note if there's something I don't want to forget. So this was just like a random thought. I was reading about Piccioli. Oh, I'm not saying that right, but he was a 15th century Italian mathematician. He kind of put together this big anthology of mathematical theorems and kind of all of the key mathematical research, and then published it as a book in the 1490s, I think. And so I just added a little note at the top saying, so he was a cataloguer more than a writer. He didn't actually propose his own theory. And I was basically kind of wondering aloud on the paper if early encyclopedias are kinds of libraries, especially because the kind of number of books was a bit smaller. And so can a big kind of like Saml band book of other writers, does that kind of work like a library? Are some books like libraries? Especially because it's a codex system. And no, kind of in a way, I guess you could argue that a normal book is a library, because it's got like an index and you can move between different things and you can find different things. But that's a bit of a tangent. I wonder if there are any questions that potentially you want me to ask. Oh gosh, I'm completely covering the camera. Let's go this way instead. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at live streams. I've got to say, live streams make me quite nervous, like a little bit. I don't know what it is about them. I never do them because I
find the prospect quite daunting. Like, it is quite scary, the prospect of people watching you live. Like, it's very different to a video that you, like, edit before putting up. I don't know, I just get nervous about it. I don't, yeah. It's always fine and I always really enjoy it, but I kind of build it up a lot in my head. Do you have any weekend plans? That is an excellent question. Do I? I'm sure I'm doing something on Saturday. I actually can't remember. I don't think I do. I don't think I do. Will you start a book club? I did used to have a book club. But I found it really hard to keep up with it and to organise it consistently. And so in the end, I had to stop doing it, even though I really did enjoy it. Because I felt I was, and not even I felt, I was letting people down through doing the book club. And so I wouldn't start a book club, at least at the moment, because I'm kind of afraid of letting people down if I didn't keep up with it consistently. What's your favourite colour? Blue, I think. There's an excellent book actually called Bluets by Maggie Nelson, and it's almost like it's almost written like an academic paper. Like, it's research based, but it goes through all of the ways that the colour blue appears in everyday life and like theories behind the colour blue, and I really enjoyed it, and it felt like a love letter to the colour blue, even though not all of it was love letter-ish. Sorry, I'm just looking for questions. I like that people are sharing book recommendations in this chat. It's very cool. Oh, Why I Write. Someone's reading Why I Write by George Orwell and The Complete Poems of Walt Whitman. Fantastic. I love Walt Whitman so much, like especially Song of Myself. That's incredible. Why I Write has been on my list for ages as well. Like, is it good? Are you enjoying it? What are your plans for publishing your novel? It's a work in progress, and I will give an update soon. I'm really hopeful that I'll be able to give an update soon, but I also don't want to say anything at the moment, because I'm not going to say anything at the moment. I don't have an update. What camera do you film with? At the moment, I'm filming on my phone because I have tried so many times to connect a camera to a live stream, and every single time, no matter how much prep goes into it, it always doesn't work. And so I have to use my phone, or sometimes I try my laptop, but even that doesn't work because, yeah, anyway. But the camera I use is, where is it? I use the Fujifilm camera. I don't know where it's gone, but I use a Fujifilm, I think it's the XS20, and then also the Canon M50, which is a tiny camera. Why are you fascinated by the Victorian period? It's a very good question. And it's funny because I didn't necessarily used to be fascinated by the Victorian period. As a kid, I loved the Edwardian period. And I still would say I prefer the Edwardian period over the Victorian period, honestly. I really like the late Victorians, like 1880s, 1890s. And then I love the 1900s. And so, and the reason I love that period, I mean, obviously the Victorian period is such like it's such a broad thing. It's called the long 19th century for a reason. Like, it's so different at the beginning of the century to the end of the century. The reason I love the kind of 1880s, 1890s, 1900s is because there was so much social change, or the beginnings of social change. At that time, you have the kind of suffragette movement beginning in the 1900s. You have new innovation around like kind of cameras and printing. You have kind of advancements, and I just feel like there are so many different advancements in this period that it's very fascinating. It's fascinating to see how it starts to change. Yeah, sorry, that was a terrible example. I do also feel that old nostalgia for that period, with something like, but it's funny because at the same time, even though I really do love the period, there's an excellent question that somebody asked, and I've lost it now, around like having a nostalgia for a period you didn't live in. And I do feel that. I feel this old nostalgia. That's kind of the term for it. Like, you have like personal nostalgia, but then as a culture, as a society, we have old nostalgia for certain times, like a broad time, like a candlestick kind of speaks to old nostalgia. And we see it throughout time, like we see it in Shakespeare, where there's old nostalgia for the green and the kind of the countryside, as you have this big urban to rural migration. But equally, any nostalgia I have for that period is very surface level, and I'm very aware of that. Like, I actually wouldn't want to live in the 1880s at all, because horrible time to live as a woman, horrible time to live for the vast majority of the, I'm talking about England here, but the English public. So, sorry, convoluted long answer, but there. Why don't you talk much about British colonialism? That's an excellent question. I do mention it when I make Victorian videos. Like I did over Christmas, I did one on Victorian Christmas, and there was an advertisement in one of the newspapers I was looking at, which was using a colonial narrative and was using this kind of really terrible, like kind of alluding to the British Empire and using that in order to, like, as an advertising technique. And I did call that out, obviously, and then kind of did a mini segment on that. I will always make a disclaimer. Well, I think I always try to make a disclaimer about the Victorian period. And if I don't, do tell me, because I do try to. Have you read Little House on the Prairie? I have. I read it quite recently, actually. Any plans to read your favourite public domain books aloud, like bedtime stories? I haven't really thought about it. I would happily do a live stream and read something if there's something in particular that you'd want me to read. I feel like a short story could work quite well. I read The Telltale Heart before, and that was quite a nice one to read out loud. Do you have any? Oh, this is lovely. I would love to read a book of yours. It would be super interesting. I really appreciate that. Hopefully one day I will be able to publish something. I like this question from Peachy Pie 915. Do you have any tips to go to events alone? Like a very, very good question. I often do go to events alone, and I think it's one of those things where you have to build up a resistance for it, and you don't build up that resistance just from going to events alone. You build it up from doing things by yourself alone, and I guess like challenging the stigma of going places by yourself, like even going on a walk by yourself, like kind of becoming comfortable with your own company, which is something naturally I think a lot of people who are introverted grow to do. But there is sometimes something much more intimidating about it happening within, or like having a conversation, about going somewhere by yourself in public and kind of being perceived by yourself. I think that is a different thing. The thing that I usually try and do, and this might sound silly, but like, is like look out for things in the kind of area around you. The great thing about going somewhere by yourself is that you are able to be more observant of the space around you. So if you're at a museum by yourself, being able to kind of like, focus in on the things around you, that's the really obvious example. But even if you're at an event at a friend's house, or you're at any kind of event in a new space, like allowing yourself to explore the space, as opposed to focusing on the people there. Like I think sometimes that can actually be really, really fulfilling. And how did you and Jade become friends? I love both your accounts. That's from Lena. We became friends through YouTube. So it was actually so funny because I sent Jade a really formal email. Like we've both been it was in 2017, I think, or early 2018. And Jade started her channel in early 2017, I think, and I sent her this message, like a really formal message saying both of our channels are very similar. We should collaborate at some time, because I really wanted to meet her, and but neither of us had ever met somebody online before, and then eventually we were like, okay, yes, let's actually do this. And so I went to her house, and it was very, very fun. I know the formality, that was weird. Where did that come from? the formality was so funny. It like we found the email actually recently, and it's so formal. It's like, dear Jade, but it's I hope that you are incredibly well this evening. Oh, Francesca said, I'm very much enjoying where I write. I am definitely going to read it. I do actually have a copy of it from the Penguin Big Ideas. What's your favourite backyard bird? Oh, I love that question. I love jackdaws because they're so funny and friendly, and corvines in general are just very curious, so I love corvines. But in terms of the song of a bird, I do love wood pigeons. It's that very nostalgic cooing, you know, that you kind of you know so much from childhood, like coo coo coo. And I actually have wood pigeons that nest in the roof above my room, so often in the night I hear scratching, like this kind of scuffling scratching, because they're in the roof, and they kind of, I see them like fly out under the window, but they're constantly singing when I wake up, and it's very lovely and very idyllic. Did you watch Stranger Things? I have only watched up to the end of season 3, but even then, okay, this is very silly. My friends all make fun of me for this. So I'm really bad at finishing things because I don't like for something to be over. And so I actually haven't watched the last 15 minutes of Stranger Things season 3 because I didn't want to end it. But then I haven't gone back and watched season 4 or 5, which I very much need to. Do you have a PO box? I'd love to send you some artwork and a little zine I made. That's so lovely, and I'm so grateful, and I very, like, honestly, you saying that really, really means a lot, and I'm very appreciative for the thought. I don't have a PO box, though, and I don't have plans to make a PO box. If I'm honest, the reason I don't have a PO box, I have thought about it, because I would love to receive letters from people, and people sometimes ask if they can send me letters, and I love letters, and so it would be so lovely to receive letters. However, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the influencer economy is quite consumerist, and there is a lot of like PR, and as a rule I say no to most PR. I maybe accept like 1-2 things a month, like at max, but sometimes often it will be nothing. But if you have a PO box, then often brands will just send a lot of stuff, and I don't want to contribute to the amount of overconsumption which happens within the influencer economy. So I'm not going to open a PO box for that reason, which is a really unfortunate reason. But also I really don't agree with the way that influencer marketing works, and I would be condoning that if I opened a PO box. Yeah, so somebody asking, they send without asking. They will do if you have a PO box, I have been told, and so that's why I won't. What is your favourite Enid Blyton book, Ruby? My favourite is The Magic Faraway Tree. That was the one that was the most influential when I was younger, and it was such a dream to interview the cast recently. Like, honestly, of the new film came out, and I got to interview the cast, and Simon Farnaby, who's the writer, and Ben, who's the director, and it was such a full circle moment for me because Magic Faraway Tree I read so many times when I was a kid. I might answer just a few more and then I am gonna go. What is your favourite tea? Oh, at the moment I've been loving very not boring, no. I've been loving buttermint tea, which tastes like mint humbugs. It's by Twinings and it's amazing. So I have been loving that one. And just in general herbal teas, I've been having a lot of green tea and mint teas and chamomile tea. So not a lot of very fancy teas at the moment. It's funny, I kind of go through phases, and at the moment I'm in definitely a herbal tea, very kind of simple herbal tea kick. Someone else, did I collab with Paper Republic? I've never collabed with them. I do have a Paper Republic journal, but I haven't collabed with them. Have you seen the Edgar Allan Poe The Raven Ink by You'd love the colour. I need to look. I did not know that they did that. Sorry, my sister's now calling me. 1 second. Martha, I'm on a live stream at the moment. Okay. What's your favourite Tom Rosenthal song? Oh my gosh, I literally could not choose. That's so hard. How on earth? I love Albert Camus. I think that's maybe my favourite. But I also love, what's the other one that's really good? Through the Fear. That one always makes me feel so like happy. And I like Flourishing because it reminds me of my friend. Do you like Sherlock Holmes? I loved, which one did I love? I loved the Hound of the Baskervilles. I really, really did. But I haven't read all of them. I've read only like the odd story here and there. The Pluviophile Papers, will they become a book? They are hilarious and we love lemon drops. Oh, we do love lemon drops. I'm not sure. It'd be cool if they did though. It'd be very, very cool if they did. Romeo and Juliet or Hamlet, I can't decide either. A hard one, but I would say Hamlet. I do, like, obviously I love Romeo and Juliet, but my favourites, I love the, and to be fair, there is still like kind of a parent dynamic in Romeo and Juliet, especially between the nurse and Juliet, with kind of the nurse acting more like that maternal figure. But I really like the Shakespeare tragedies, which are about the parent-child dynamic. And so my favourite is The Winter's Tale, which is because of the Leontes and Mamilius dynamic, and King Lear, which is obviously all about fatherhood and King Lear's relationship with Cordelia, and Hamlet because it's about kind of father and son avenging father's death. And so, yes, I would say Hamlet all the way. King Lear is the best Shakespeare play. Yeah, Paper and Felt. I totally, like, it's such a good play. But as I say, like, Winter's Tale, I think I've got a soft spot for it though, because I did it for A level and really fell in love with it as a result. King Lear I've never seen. I've read it maybe 3 times, but I really, really need to watch it. Like, what production did you see, if you don't mind me asking, if you've watched it? Have you read Hamnet? I don't seem to recall, but I believe you did. I did, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I was just crying the whole way through. Not the whole way through, but it's so tender and lovely. Have you read Jack Lamawson? I loved Jack Lamawson when I was a kid. I read so much Jack Lamawson that my teachers in year 5 and 6 told me to stop reading her because I was reading her too much. And I had her picture pasted on my English book, like just a huge, it was literally, so we had to decorate it with our favourite books, but at the time, all I would read was Jack Lamawson and Harry Potter. And so at the time, all I would read was Jack Lamawson actually, because this is the beginning of year 4 and I didn't like Harry Potter. And I put Jack Lamawson's face on the front, just like a massive picture of Jack Lamawson. And then I put underneath this little like caveat being, this is Jack Lamawson. You're going to be seeing a lot of her in this reading journal. So I thought I'd put her picture here. Would you like to own your own bookshop? I love the idea of owning my own bookshop, but having spoken with people who do have their own bookshops, I think it would be very stressful. And I'm not a natural like business person. I feel like the business side of it would be very difficult to run and kind of manage stock and things. I like the idea of it, but I don't think I actually ever would. Oh, my sister's on the live stream and she says, Ruby, there are crisps downstairs, which is excellent to know. I might actually have to go because if there are crisps, I might have to go down for crisps. I would really like a look into your next videos. Yes, what have I got coming up? I recently went to Stourhead in Somerset, so I'm going to be uploading my vlog of that. And then my top 50 books of all time is another one, which I'm going to be uploading. And then I've also got like a spring day in the life video and a study with me actually, which I was planning on doing. I'd love to see more videos about what you eat as a vegan. I can share some recipe-ish things, but I'm not like that adventurous, I've got to say, with my food. And so like my meals are quite boring and repetitive. So I don't know if that's actually very interesting. Who's your favourite author? That's such a hard question. Who is my favourite author? I think broadly I'd say the Brontes. I know that's broad, and they're sisters. You can't generalise them, but the Brontes. The Brontes. My favourite Bronte is *Tent of Wildfell Hall* by Anne Bronte. I also do love Charles Dickens. When I made this 50 favourite books video, I guess kind of the thing that's interesting is where the same author has multiple books. And the authors that had multiple books were Charles Dickens, the Brontes broadly, Dostoevsky, Ian McEwan. I think maybe that was it. Yeah, I guess they're my favourite authors. What's your favourite soup? There is a minestrone soup that I make at least once a week, and last year I ate it every day for 2 months. It's just the best thing ever. It's my favourite food. Okay, I like this. Tori Cromwell says, I fear the crisps are calling, Ruby. They are, and crisps are very insistent. Can't you hear them beckoning? That like my ears are hearkened now to the song and the sound of crisps. I might have to go. I know my sister's watching this next door, like in the room across with her friend, and it's very unsettling, I must say. Okay, so I am going to I just had them laugh because clearly they just heard me say that. So I've just ascertained it. Okay. I'm going to leave now, and thank you so much for joining this live stream and joining in with the National Reading Hour. And yeah, I'm very appreciative for people who joined and have given up part of their Thursday evening. So thank you so much. Goodbye.